My name is Mark Martinez. I'm the Global Software Sales Engineer. Part of my duties is to help promote the various software development tools that we market to our customers. My contact information is up on the screen. Feel free to contact me anytime if you have any questions regarding CircuitStudio and how to obtain it, or if you need support. You'll also see the Global CAD Tool Technical Support Mailbox, PCB software at Element 14. If you have any questions concerning CircuitStudio, how to do different things in CircuitStudio, we have a full staff of technical support engineers that have been trained by Altium globally. So please feel free to send any questions that you might have to that mailbox. I can also be reached via that mailbox as well.
We'll go ahead and look at some connectivity and multi-sheet designs here. We'll take a look at a flat design and a hierarchical one, and a little bit about the inspector panel. Let me go ahead and create a new project here. And then I'll add a couple new schematics to that project. Just from my project menu, add new schematic. I'll put about 3 of them in here. So there's a couple reasons why you want to do a multi-sheet design. Some projects can get really large or even complex, so they won't fit on a single sheet, and you may need to use multiple sheets. The design, it may have some modular elements that are easier to maintain separately. Or there may even be multiple engineers working on different portions, and they could each work on a separate schematic. And it also gives you the ability to print on small format laser printers. So when you do a multi-sheet design, you need to decide the structural relationship of the sheets, if it's going to be a hierarchical or a flat design. And you need to decide the method used for the connectivity between the sheets. We have several different net identifiers that we use to complete the connections between the sheets. We have things like net labels, and these are all available from the home menu here. So we have net labels, and then we have ports. We have sheet entries and sheet symbols, which we'll be using for the hierarchical design, and then also power ports. One thing to take note of is the project options when you're doing a multi-sheet design. You can go to Project and then Options here. And under this Options tab, you have a net identifier scope. And what this is going to control is the way that your connections are made between your net labels and your ports and all your different net identifiers. If you leave it set to automatic and you just have, say, net labels in your design, then your design will be considered flat. And those net labels will be global and connect across different sheets. If you add ports to your design, those will be detected. It'll still be a flat design, but you'll use the ports to connect your sheets. And the net labels will remain local. And then if you add those sheet entries and those sheet symbols, it'll be detected as a hierarchical design, and you'll have a top-level sheet. So you can pretty much leave this net identifier scope set to automatic, and CircuitStudio will detect what's in your design, the ports and the net labels and the sheet entries and sheet symbols, and pick the correct connection based on what you added to your schematics. But you can also force it to any of those modes, and even another mode here that's not available through the automatic, where you can make net labels and ports both global, so they'll connect across all your sheets. So we'll just leave that automatic for this here. And we'll take a look at a hierarchical design. To create that, all you need to do is place some sheet symbols. You're going to want a sheet symbol for every sheet that's not your top-level sheet. It's required to have a single top-level sheet at the top that you place your symbols on, and then below that will be your subsheets. So to place a sheet symbol, you just go to your Home menu, and then you can size it out here. You can hit Tab while you're placing it. And in this File Name field, this is where you connect to the sheet that you want. So I'll just pick sheet 1 here. And another way to place these sheet symbols that's pretty cool is just to right-click and do sheet actions. And you can do create sheet symbol from sheet and select the one that you want. Let me pin this projects panel here and take a look at these other sheets. I'm just going to go ahead and name this one top right now. And if I wanted to connect this sheet 1 to this sheet 2, I would just need to place a port on both of them with the same name, and they would connect right to each other. But if I want to make that connection through my top level sheets, then I'm going to have to give them each a specific name. Let me go ahead and place some components and get them connected here. So I'll just place a battery on here, and then I'll wire it right up to my port. And then I'll give my port a unique name. Maybe I'll just call this one left. And then I'll do something similar on this other sheet. I'm going to call this port right. And then I'll place a component and get it wired up there. And I'll just rotate that around using my space bar and then wire it up here with the wire tool. And now that I've placed these ports on my sheets, they'll be available to place on my top level sheet as sheet entries. I just click up here in my ribbon on my sheet entry, and I can place these around the outside. Since I'm going to want to connect over to this one on the right, I'll just put it over here. And I can hit tab while I'm placing it. And I can either type in a name, or I can just select this drop down, and it's going to detect all ports that are on that sheet. I'll select that left one there. And go over here on my other sheet, I'll hit the tab. And then I should have a right option in here now. And then I'll just wire those up together. And then if I add a PCB document to this project, and then I'll bring over those components from my schematics. You'll see they have that rat's nest connection that's been made through the top level sheet. Another cool thing is once you compile, you'll see that hierarchical project will be shown here. You'll get your top level sheets and then your subsheets. And you can create as many levels of these subsheets as you want. Let me add another schematic to this project. And maybe I'd want to put a link to this on sheet 1, so I could create a sheet symbol here. And then choose that brand new one that I just added, and I can link to it from a subsheet. And then I can place the ports and those sheet entries to connect to the ports. And you'll see when I compile here that it takes on the nature of the project there. If you want to jump to a sheet or a port from a sheet symbol, you could just hold your control key and double click right on the symbol or the port. So I'm just holding down the control, and I'll double click on this left one here. It'll take me right to the port and mask everything out for me. So the project structure links the source documents together, but the document-to-document and that net connectivity information, that's all defined in the documents themselves using those net identifiers. Another net identifier that we have is this, it's called an off-sheet connector. And this is mostly used for compatibility with other programs. When you import some other programs use this, and it's not the recommended way to connect your sheets together. What you're going to want to use is these ports. Power ports are kind of a special item here. They always connect globally to all matching power ports across the entire project. And there's also a hidden pin, which can give you connections across sheets that I'll show you real quick. So if you're working in a schematic library on your components and you place that pin, you have an option here to hide the pin and a connect to field. And if you enter a value in here, it'll connect to all other pins that have the same value that are set to hidden globally across the entire project. So the flat designs and the hierarchical designs, all multi-sheet designs, they're really simple in CircuitStudio and very easy to implement using the ports and the net labels and the sheet symbols. And I worked on a little example here earlier. And this one just shows that you can also use these buses and also harnesses to connect across your sheets. So I just placed a simple bus on this one with the bus formatted net label here, and then the port. And very similar, a harness. I placed my signal harness with the harness entries, and then the connector here, which are all found right here in your home menu. And these you can use to combine multiple signals into a single port, and then send those across to your other sheet. So if you have any questions about the multi-sheet design, go ahead and enter them into the questions or that chat panel. And while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about the inspector, which is really cool. The inspector is great for global editing. It's available in all your different editors. You can get to it in the schematic editor, into the PCB editor, and also in all your library editors. You can find it right in the View menu from this inspector icon. The real main advantage is really the global editing and the ability to edit multiple objects and multiple parameters in one place. You don't have to open up a ton of dialogues for every object, and the panel stays open the whole time you're editing, so you can edit multiple attributes. Let me pull it open here. And of course, you can dock this anywhere you like. I'll put it over here on the right for now. And we'll play with this PCB here a little bit. So notice in the inspector panel, it's going to display all of your attributes for any object selected. I'm going to select this pad here, and it shows me all of the object-specific attributes and also graphical, which is like the location and the rotation. You'll notice you'll see a blue link here, and what that is if the object that's selected has a child or is a child, this link will take you to the child or the parent. So this one has a C8 designator string. If I click on that, it'll take me right to the designator string. And I can go back to the component from the parent relationship. So if I wanted to edit this pad, it'd be really easy to, say, increase the hole size. After I enter a value, I can either hit the enter key or I can click into another field here, and that's when the change will take place. So maybe I want to edit multiple ones at the same time. I can go ahead and hold my shift key and select these 4 pads, and I can change them all at once. You'll notice that it has 3 periods here. If it has a common attribute, but they have different values, then you'll see that the 3 periods appear to let you know that the objects you have selected have different values. So really easy to change all of those at once. And I can, this board is in mils here, but if I enter a value afterwards, like mm, it'll automatically convert it for me. And a real good companion to this inspector is also this filter. This can help you narrow down your objects so they're easier to select. Like if I just wanted to select pads that were part of components, I can filter them down here. Go ahead and do a global edit. Maybe we'll just change all the text size. So what I'm going to do is I'll just do a Control-A to do a select all on the board. And in this inspector panel, you'll see at the bottom I have, 11,000 objects displayed here. At the top of the inspector panel, I can choose what type of objects I want to display. Right now it's doing all objects. So maybe I just want to look at the text. And so now it's telling me at the bottom I have 46 of 11. And if I want to just change, say, all the fonts on all of those texts, I can just find the field here, true type font name, and change that to whatever I like. So really easy to change all the fonts on every single text on the board there. Maybe I want to change something else, like a tract width, for an example. Let me open up my PCB panel here and find a good net. This 3v7 will work. So this is just masking it out, so it's going to make it easier for me to view that net. And under Home, I have this select command, select connected copper. I can use that to quickly select that whole track. And there's some fills and other stuff in there that I don't want. So I'm going to change my inspector panel to display only tracks. And maybe I want to increase the width a little bit on that. Just enter in the value and hit enter. You see all those tracks change at the same time. Another cool thing here is like a batch string replacement. I'm just going to clear my filter, and I'll select a couple strings here. These designators look good. And I'll set my inspector panel to display everything again. And here in the string fields, I can just hit these 3 periods, and I have a batch replace where I can enter in multiple strings to replace other strings with. Say I wanted to increase all these by 10. I could change it from C to C1. You see that replacement string, it's going to make all the C equals to C6 for this particular one. And then I hit the OK, and you'll see they'll all change globally there based on the string that I've entered to replace. And you can also enter that in with like the curly brackets, old string equals new string. So that's just a little bit about the inspector panel and doing some quick global editing, and then some about the connectivity of multi-sheet designs.